neighbor, what's good? So neighbor means novels and bits listener, and I am Silva Katie, your host. So we crossed 7 mountains and 7 waters to bring this podcast to you today. I'm not kidding, because for a long time since I started this podcast, I'm used to doing it audio. Since I started to do it video, honestly, it's been like but okay. Today we're going to finish Reckless Part 2 because we've already done Part 1. So without further much ado, let's dive in. Okay, so where we stopped off at the last episode is that Theo Silva discovers that he has a daughter with Winter Hamilton, and he's been in the dark about it for 18 months. And Winter actually had informed him because she'd gone through this whole gymnastics of trying to steal his phone number so that her sister doesn't find out, texted him only for him to text back like, thanks for letting me know. What? So that's the whole thing. But right now he's looking like he's falling apart. So that means whoever is that person that sent me that thanks for letting me know, it was not this guy, because this guy does not look like he's okay with any of this happening. Okay, so now that Theo kind of has his whole panic attack, including throwing up, breathing hard, and he just finally gets some measure of calm, he now started explaining to Winter that this is what he thinks happened. That because he's been trying to clean up his act, because he has this reputation of being the bad boy, like the person that sleeps with women and stuff like that fantastically. So because he's trying to change that reputation, he had to give his phone, the phone that he uses to access his socials, and the phone number that most women had. He gave it to his manager at Hamilton Elite. Hamilton Elite is like a sports agency, like that manages top sports stars, and it's owned by Winter's dad. Winter is personally not close to her dad, although Summer is. He was a fantastic dad to Summer, but not to Winter. And we're going to see all of that in this plot. So that's the thing. That agency happens to be managing Theo. And the guy there, Geoff, that Theo gave his phone, when Winter texted him, like, oh, I'm having a baby with you, do you want to be involved? And he said, thanks for letting me know. He had just thought whatever he thought that is not important, although Theo had clearly told him, manage my socials, and if any important messages comes, let me know. He had not let Theo know, as far dismissed Theo having a child as not important. Even if the woman is lying, first of all, at least your Oga has told you any important message, tell me. He did not do that. So everybody is vexing for this Geoff. I mean, Theo right now is vexing for him. Theo later told his mom later. The mom was vexing, and when other people is still going to vex for him, and he deserves it. Like the kind of firing that man needs to be fired is the firing to hell. Theo is really curious to know his daughter, because he's like, I've missed so much. I mean, I miss the labor, I miss her first crawl, I miss this, I miss that. Like, he's just eager. I want to know everything, tell me. So Winter is like, well, her birthday is September 22. You know, that's the most basic thing to start with. Her name is Vivian, so we call her Vivi, and I gave her that name because it sounds like the name a prime minister would have. So she's already kind of like shooting big for her daughter, and Theo was just listening to her like impressed. Yeah, my daughter is probably going to be prime minister someday. At the end of the night, Theo goes back to his house next door to Winter's, and he's really not feeling himself. Like he's like thinking, oh, I can't sleep right now, and I'm quite bothered. So he calls his mom, because he and his mom, they're close. His mom's name is Loretta. So the instant he calls Loretta just goes like, so what's going on with you? Like, something's up. It's like, what's mom? Why do you think something's up? But he gave up and told her that, listen, I just found out I have a daughter, you have a grandchild, and it's all this Geoff person at the Hamilton Elite that caused all of this. So the mom felt like really angry at Geoff, and also felt bad for Theo, because she knows her son, and that he would have really wanted to be involved in his child's life from the very start of it. Well, Loretta normally is meant to come around to Chestnut Springs, like this town that this whole story is focused on, because Summer's wedding is a month away. Summer, that's Winter's younger sister that is marrying Red. So Loretta is meant to come for the wedding. And because of this whole grandchild thing now, she's kind of adjusting plans. So she's going to show face sooner or later. Loretta is a midwife. So based on that experience, she could relate to the experience that Winter went through. And as a mom of two herself, Theo and his sister Julia, she understood that like whatever Winter went through by herself must have been a lot. And Theo, since you are here right now and you want to help, that just know that yes, although Winter is happy based on she's always wanted this baby, just know that she's feeling overwhelmed, and your job as a good dad is basically to help Winter feel less overwhelmed. So now Theo gets to work, like draws to-do list and get into the whole job of I'm gonna play dad, I'm gonna be a good dad. The following morning, Theo went into town to get Winter coffee because normally she doesn't get enough sleep based on managing Vivian all night and stuff. So when he gets the coffee for her, she's so grateful. Like, why would you go into town to get me coffee? That's so nice, thank you. And then she actually sees the seriousness that he wants to be around. And then she's like, okay, if we're gonna do this whole co-parenting thing, at least we should have each other's numbers because they don't have each other's numbers, or at least that's what she thought. She doesn't have his own. But then he's like, I have your number. She was like, how do you have my number? He's like, you know, the night, you know, the one night stand night, he actually imputed, like, you know, this kind of thing, you want to collect somebody's number and you carry their phone, you press the number inside, they call your own phone and save their number, but then you delete it from the call log. So that's what Theo did, and she did not know. And then she's like, just thinking, but why would he do that? But he doesn't like explain. He just goes in and he's just like meeting Vivian and carrying her, and then Winter is just starts talking, and she's saying that one of the things about being a mom is that she hasn't dated alone in 9 months. Like, whoa, you know, one thing about being a single mom. So hearing that, Theo just looks at her and says, go have a date right now, just go have a bath right now, Winter, you know, just go have a bath by yourself. And she's like, just like that. And he said, oh, that I'm sorry, that if you're worried about leaving the baby with me, just know that I've babysat like 1,000,001 of my cousins' children, so I'm used to this. Unless you're just not comfortable with me being with her, and that's fine, I should have asked your permission. So the way he does so smoothly, like, say it, putting her in consideration first, that's like that kind of, you know, that gets him like a special badge of honor. So later, Theo was now explaining to Winter that, oh, he actually took her number because he always knew that he was going to come back to her. Just that at that time, both of them have not gotten their acts together, but he just wanted to get his act together to be the man she deserves before he comes back. Winter was like, how am I sure of time in the truth? You could have babies all over the county. Come on, you're Theo Silva. Everybody has heard of your prowess. And then he goes saying, oh, no, I don't have babies scattered around. Oh, yeah, my only baby mama as well. Should I believe you? Phil's former shagging buddy, let's put it that way, she comes around, basically. And she comes around to check on him based on, he had accidents at the rodeo, and she was there on the scene. She was even crying. And Winter, when she saw her, was like, why is this one crying? Is she Theo's latest babe? So the thing is, as she came by, Winter saw her and just went inside, like feeling all jealous, okay? And then Theo and her are now talking, and Cindy is all like, oh, my comment, and this girl really seems nice. I mean, she works a good job, came from the city, she's beautiful. But Theo, that ship has sailed, because right now he has his eyes only on Winter and right now his daughter. So he just tells, he lets Cindy down easy, more or less like he's in the middle of something good, so he can't. And she just has this disappointed laughter, like, oh, okay. A week later, after Theo met Vivian and he's been playing baby daddy, they have to go to the ranch, like Rhett and Summer's ranch, to have dinner with, you know, with the guys. Everybody's gathering, and I love these gatherings. Actually, Winter is feeling nervous because nobody knows up until this moment that Theo is her baby daddy, but it's all going to come out at this gathering. So she's feeling nervous, although Theo doesn't really care, just like, yeah, chill, let's just go, okay? But at the same time, Winter is also feeling jealous because this is around that time Cindy just came, and she did not know what Theo and Cindy talked about. So, and she just having this thoughts in her head like, oh, Dad, he is going to get married to someone else, and I have to put up with that woman, whoever she is, because we have a child together. You get that whole bound by a child thing, but we're not really the ones bound, and I have to like put up with whoever Theo has in his life. So she's just feeling jealous about this in the car. She's all snacky and icy. And I think she's also feeling bad about is that although Theo has only been in Vivi's life for like a week, he's really good at daddying. Do the car seats, he's good. Change the diaper, he's good. Bathe her, he's good. Get her into a baby carrier, he's good. Why so good? Okay, I mean, I've been the one doing this far longer than you have, but why do you freaking have to come around and be so freaking good at this? That's how she's feeling. This is them now. They're driving to the ranch, and honestly, at this point, there was this Tony Robbins reference, which makes me think that Elsie Silva, the author of this book, does not like Tony Robbins. I mean, because Winter goes saying a comment more like, Only a man could be that big of a douchebag and still make millions of dollars peddling the most elementary advice. I mean, I think it's a talent. If other people are willing to pay you for an advice they can hear from anybody. So, where Tony Robbins is concerned, I respect him, but I'm not like a call for the war or anything. I just madly respect him. But it appears that Elsie Silva may not, so which is cool. How do I know this? I know that writers leave bits of themselves in their stories. So eventually, Theo keeps pushing. Winter, what's making you all icy? Why are you being as you are being right now? So she eventually plots out how she's feeling, like you marry someone, and then he now has to explain to her like, whoa, chill. And at this time they've just arrived at the ranch, but they've not come out of the car. Then he now explains to her like, listen, you're the only woman I want. Really are the only woman I want. So stop raising other people. Stop raising them. Dinner, okay? So Willa and Cade are present at dinner with their two children, and Sloan and Jasper, they're sitting too close, as if Sloan is practically sitting on Jasper's lap. Then there is Bo, like Cade and Rhett's brother, who was in the military, but he had some trauma happen to him. So now that he's back and retired, he still has a whole lot of PTSD that makes him act like an ass. I mean, normally during dinner, Winter is like the major asshole usually, but it looks like Bo is taking that asshole crown from her today, because he's like sitting by himself with this beer bottle, and he's just like spinning the bottle and he's peeling off the label. Why he's doing that, nobody knows. Also, a new guest at the table, Sloan's mom Cordelia. She just divorced from her abusive ex-husband, and she was meant to come to Chestnut Springs to just stay for like a short time, but she's been there for like over a year or so. And Winter is noticing that something might be going on between her and Harvey. Harvey is like Red's dad, like Summer's father-in-law to be, like Red's daddy. So that's it. And Winter is wondering, why is nobody noticing that something might be happening? It's likely happening between Cordelia and Harvey, because she's noticing that it's changed and how she's just like maybe kicking him under the table to do something, and he's actually complying. So he's like, what's going on there? But that's what everybody's looking at. What everybody's attention is on is fixed on Theo, Winter, and Vivian. Vivian is like sitting on Theo's lap, right? And everybody is noticing, like, it is so obvious that this baby looks like Theo. And they're like, why the hell have we missed that all along? Because they were not looking, they were not thinking to see that. That's why. And now that they have, they're still all acting tense. Like, nobody wants to ask the question first, is it not? Because the only thing they remember of Theo and Winter was that last Christmas dinner, that both of them were just arguing like, what, I don't know. If you want to get this contest, you get it at the beginning of part 1. The person who was bold enough to break the bubble on all of this was Harvey, because they started talking about, oh, Loretta, when is she coming, for the wedding and stuff. And then Harvey was like, oh, I reckon she'll want to stay a little longer to spend some time with her new grandchild. Like, he just basically popped off the lid like that. And in Winter's mind, she's like, yeah, I trust you. Always just complain, Harvey, I trust you. With this revelation now out of the bag, Summer was now asking Winter, so how is it going? Like, how are you and Theo dealing with this? So Winter's like, cool. It's just like being business partners, right? It's not like it's like keeping it professional. I mean, how do you keep having a baby together professional? Like, how does that work? Theo did not like their reply because he stiffened next to her. He was angry, but he tried to maintain this neutral expression like, oh no, it doesn't bother me, but it does. So this kind of thing that after dinner, people kind of form tiny groups and everybody's kind of having their own mini conversation. So Theo and Rhett were having theirs in the kitchen, and Rhett was like, okay, I get that Winter is a baby mama, and you're trying to be there for your daughter by hanging out next to her, but we know Winter is a complicated woman and you don't have to like her, because Red's opinion is like most people's opinion of Winter. She's icy, she's cold, she's unapproachable, and Summer is like the happy summerish person, approachable, like the opposite sisters. Yeah. But then Theo gets mad at this, like, y'all should just stop talking crap about Winter. Okay, stop. Like, I like Winter. I actually like Winter. I liked her before I met her. I liked her from all the stories you used to tell about her. So don't put this like I don't like this woman, because I actually do. Winter and Theo are driving home, after the dinner, and then Winter now opens up to Theo and says that actually the reason I was called to Summer growing up, and I've never told her this, is because I was trying to protect her. That I learned early that if I became my mom's perfect daughter, my mom wouldn't, like, she doesn't even call her mom, she calls her Marina, because woman is that mean. Downstairs, I learned early that I just had to become the perfect child so that Marina's attention would not stay on Summer and she would turn her main streak to her. You get? So I had to treat Summer distantly too. You get? So that Marina would not use her as prey or something, take it out on her. Because Marina is just cold and bitter big. That woman, that's what she tried to make Winter into. And Winter is at this point trying to break free of it. That night, Theo, obviously he's in his own house, and Winter and Vivian next door, and he's having a hard time sleeping, and next time he's hearing baby cries, like this severe baby cries. So he goes next door to Winter's, and then Winter answers the door, and half of her face is scrubbed clean of makeup, the other still has makeup on, and she's still wearing the gown from dinner, and she's looking tired and looks like she's on the verge of tears, and she's telling him, oh, I'm so sorry about Vivi, I'm gonna try to keep it down. And Theo is looking at her like, what? I actually came to help. And she's like, what? You came to help? So this is how he takes over caring for the baby for the night and asks her to just go, dress up for the night. You get? And he ends up actually watching the baby all through the night. But before he ends up watching the baby all through the night, there was this scene, in her bedroom when he tried to get her to relax. And so they ended up kissing. But that was all that happened because Theo pulled away. He pulled away basically in respect of Winter. But in Winter's head, she was thinking, oh, I must not be desirable again. Maybe it's because my body changed after I had a baby. I mean, he's not jumping me, so that means I am not fine again. You get? Theo's own side, the story is it's different. Because right now, he's not coming for a one night stand anymore. I mean, he wants forever, and he recognizes it needs work. It needs a whole lot more than, oh, yeah. So he's not here for that. So by morning, when Winter wakes up from a lavish sleep, like she's never had, since she gave birth to her daughter, she now sees Theo and Vivi in a crib. Imagine muscular man, bull riders, come on, they're hot, they're come on, muscle everything, and that muscular kind of man is in a baby's cot crib for, a large enough crib, but not too large for humans. So he's folding himself in a particular way, and the baby's sleeping in the crook of his arm. And then Winter is all like, oh, I mean, she takes a photo and saves it and shows it off to the girls later that morning. Because Theo continues to care, and Winter steps out to kind of get some coffee and just meet up with the girls briefly at the gym. And that kind of gives her the idea of, I think I want to resume working out, because I've not thought of it since I had Vivi. But with Theo back in the picture, it's kind of really helping her a lot. Okay. So when she drove by the gym, that morning briefly, she saw Summer, and that's when she, because Theo had actually urged her, hey, why not tell Summer the real reason why you were so cold to her all these years? So because of that, Theo's nudging from the former night, she now told Summer why. That's why I did this to protect you. And both of them had giant tears coming out of their eyes at the end. And this is Winter who's always like, I don't cry. But lately, especially since Theo showed up, she's been crying a lot. And she's like, I think it's the hormones. I think it's this. I think there's something in my eye, because we're not going to confess we're crying, yeah? Time Winter returned home with coffee for Theo. She found out that he was cleaning up, and he had baby Vivi strapped to a baby carrier in front of him. Isn't that cute? Isn't that cute or what? I mean, a muscular man carrying a baby carrier, cleaning up your house. Although the house is not spick and span yet. So next thing, he just announces, hey, that I know this, you've been saying you do your nails, and you've not gotten around to it. So I booked a nail appointment for you at 10, and there's a spa section after, so the one is meeting you. Go hang out, have a girls' day. I and Vivi are in this together. So just like that, she gets shoved out of her house. And never has she felt so good or felt like herself like she did that day. Because this is just bliss from overstressed single mom, and you're just having some hours to yourself, and you're not worried that you're burdening someone, because they're gladly doing it because they want to spend time with their daughter. But before she stepped out of the house, he brought up that while he was cleaning, he actually saw envelopes, and these envelopes were from Rob, bills, because Rob had been, ever since Winter divorced him, Rob has been sending random bill envelopes. This one is for a house, this other one was for a wedding, this one, as though she owed him anything. And she did not even do drama when she asked him for divorce. She did not ask for anything big, as I think she was supposed to have. But Rob is a crazy person. because he no longer has Winter's attention, he's trying to just bother her. He did the same thing to Summer when Summer moved on with her life after he actually did her dirty, and now he's doing it again to, because Summer is now out of the picture, she's clear, she's living her life. He's now doing it to Winter. The man isn't okay, but we'll see how they dealt with him. We'll see, because he was dealt with. And because of this whole rock thing, that's why Winter has a secure camera system. Because if you remember in part A of Reckless, when Theo initially came to the house, he didn't ring the bell. He was just sitting out in the front because he didn't want to disturb Winter. But Winter, the security alert indicated, told her that someone was out in front, and she came. So that security alert, she installed it so that whenever Rob comes, she'll open the door. Now, hours later, Winter returned home after nail appointment. She chose to paint her nail pink, and she has spa, so she's feeling so good. And next thing, you're coming into a house, and the house is so clean, the cleanest it's ever been. And then there's actual food cooking on the fire, and then your daughter, Vivi is seated on the floor with Theo. And then what Theo would do is that he'll build building blocks for her, and then she would shove it down, and then she's like, ah! She now start clapping excitedly, oh, I did that, I caused that destruction. Also, by the time Winter goes to bed that night, because her door, the daughter room, always squeaks, and this time she'll be like, I'll oil it. And that squeaking has contributed to her waking up Vivian at points that she didn't want to. But when she went to sleep that night, it didn't creak at all, which means Theo got it. He oiled it. So Theo found out that Winter wants to start working out. And there was this person that she wanted to train her, another trainer like that, a man. And then Theo saw red. A man will touch her when she's wearing all those tights and looking hot. No, another man cannot touch her. So he went to Summer's computer and changed the trainer to himself. So this is how when Winter came, they were now having this stare down, no, you're not gonna try me. And Theo just gonna don't worry, I'll wear you out unless we don't want us to do workout today. So next thing, she just grumbles and lies on the bench, a workout bench, and she just lying there, with her legs kind of bent at 90 degrees almost, and she just covers her face like this. So you're not quite seeing her eyes. So Theo just gives her space because he just feels she needs space. So he went around doing other things. He was doing in the gym, cleaned up, he did whatever, he trained the people he was training, did his own workouts. Because right now, remember, he's on physical therapy to recover from his injury so that he can get back in season and get that medal. Yeah, so by the time he finishes, that's when most people are leaving the gym, and there's this last guy. Instead of the guy just leaving, he goes over to Winter, where Winter is staying, and he's like, hey, you okay? So Winter says no. Then the guy feels like it's an invitation to keep talking. Then he's like, that I saw you the other day, and I said I'm going to come, and I also was wondering if you want us to hang out. And then Winter just says this extremely harsh thing. She's like, oh man, I wish I had the confidence. He was like, what? She's like, I just told you I'm not okay. And you think it's okay to invite me out? Then if I wasn't so upset right now, I would ask you what you had for breakfast to have that kind of courage. This is around something she said, but a whole lot meaner, because we're talking Winter. So the poor guy is confused, the poor guy that just walked up to Winter innocently. So Theo steps in, and then the guy was like, oh, both of you, I'm sorry, man, I didn't know. So I said, and Theo too, as much as he felt bad for the man based on Winter's mean, he also felt I had a girl, because he was also coming to chase the guy away. As for, why are you talking to my girl? She may not know you yet, but she's my girl, so you don't talk to my girl. So as the guy leaves, Winter and Theo, they have a moment. Yeah, because what Theo does is that he sits behind Winter. He goes to sit behind her. So he's basically straddling her from behind, sort of. And then when she removes her hand off her face, because remember, it's been like this the entire time, that's when Theo noticed that, oh my God, she was on the verge of tears, and she was trying to cover it up. Kind of let it go back in. So she now explained that she just feels overwhelmed and unwanted by him, because he's been basically covering her up. First of all, he held himself off from kissing her the other day, and the next thing is, because there was a time her nightgown tugged up, he tugged it down. Okay, and then even the same night now at the gym, she's wearing all this sports bra thing, and I think hers is those ones that cover your tummy too. So I think he lifted a bit, and Theo pulled it down. So she was not of the idea that he's doing this because he doesn't like her body. he finds her disgusting. And then Theo's like, no, that's not how it is. That's not how it is at all. And she's like, are you sure? Because that's the vibes I'm getting. So that's when he does the whole, holds her from behind, like, this kind of thing. Somebody is sitting behind you and holds you around, yeah, and then slowly start to like tell her all of the parts of her body that he likes, the elegant column of her neck, her ear kind of thing, her lips, her full lips, her eyes, her blue eyes, her nose, that kind of series. Then in the middle of it, he also confesses that actually I've not even been with anyone since I've been with you. And so Winter is like, you have to be kidding me, 18 months, you celebrate 18 months. He's like, why is that hard to believe? Like, I thought, because before he even was with her, he was already celebrating for like 4 months plus. And that's how he was planning to be. So she just happened to come into the picture when he was already kind of cleaning his act together. And he's continuing with it. He's continuing with that shift. Like, I'm going to clean my act together. I'm going to be the kind of man you deserve, the kind of father Vivi deserves, and honor my father's legacy. So actually, things happen. Things go down on that bench, because that whole emotional moment leads to kisses, which leads to some steamy moments, but like not the actual do. So when they're done, right, and they've branded that bench, like branded it. So they get up, everybody dresses up. So they walk home because it is a short distance away. And when they arrive, they see a guest in front of Theo's house, Loretta. That's his mom. She came early. And Loretta is so friendly because Winter stiffened. Because remember, she's not close to any of her parents. Her dad was basically absent, and her mom was like this cold bitch or witch. So, and meeting someone as free as Loretta, who goes like, oh hi, and hugs her, and like, oh, Theo has said so many good things about you. Oh my god, meeting you for the first time. Like, she's actually genuine. She's kind. And that's when it dawned on Winter that, it must actually be from Loretta that Theo inherited his brand of kindness from. Theo helps his mom inside the house, and then he comes out to say proper goodbye to Winter, including giving her the coaster. A coaster is like what holds a drink, something you put a drink on. So they use something like that, all those circle things, I seen it on the screen, that they used to sign, this is only going to be for one night and stuff, like they signed before they had the one night stand. He still had that coaster like 18 months later. So Winter is like, why did you keep it? And he keeps telling her, I always intended to come back. I always intended to come back. In the weeks that follow, both of them get really good at pretending the foreplay didn't happen, right? Like, they're just both ignoring it. She doesn't talk about any other thing else but that night. And they fell into a rhythm. So she walks out alone, because after that whole helping me walk out thing and the whole steamy moment, she just walks out alone for more focus. But then he still comes out to maybe give her a point out to help her stretch, but not like helping her work out. And also, trust Theo. Theo is always this guy who has to joke about everything, especially something sexual, because each time he'll now lean down and tell her, and when you're done, remember to wipe the bench. Wipe the bench, like in reference to the night, right, at the gym together. And then each time she just glare at him and he would just smack. And he kept doing this joke, even when Winter was like, it's getting old. He's like, no, it's not. Like, what's wrong with you? So in a way, in as much as they're not talking about the night, they're still talking about the night. I don't know. Loretta is the most awesome grandmotherist. I mean, she's always helping them with Vivi, so both of them have a chance to do other things. But it doesn't mean they don't spend a lot of time with their daughter, especially Theo. He's always like Vivi. And then Vivi and Peter become playmates, because if you remember, Theo has a dog, Peter, that he moved in with. This little dog that is so ugly, that has eyes that will turn around, that is supposedly said to be deaf and dumb. Okay, just deaf. Okay, so the dog. But then Winter has found out that this dog is not deaf, because the dog would hear Vivi drop something on the floor and the dog would come running, or Winter would call the dog, Peter, this, and the dog would obey. So Winter was like, Theo, this dog is not deaf. It just doesn't like listening to you. Like, that's the conclusion of this matter. So next thing, Summer's wedding morning rolls around. Ooh, her wedding day. That means it's already been a month. It's already been a friggin' month. And even Theo is wondering, it's been a month since I met Vivi. How did time fly? And we're going to still make more surprises, so stay with me because this gets more fun. Winter happens to be maid of honor, not bridesmaid. It was bridesmaid that she was gunning for. But then Sloan was laughing at her like, you have carried this cheap bridesmaid and carried it way. Like, chief maid, it's called maid of honor, but we normally call it chief bridesmaid in this our corner of the world. That morning, Loretta came to Winter's bedroom because while she was dressing up, she hasn't gone out to the wedding hall yet and stuff like that. So Loretta comes to see her, and she was not like, Winter, please, what's your story? Winter's like, Theo didn't tell you. He said, she was like, no. He said it's not his story to tell. Like, well, that's cool. Like, kept Winter's story away from his mom. That makes me so freaking respectable. Respect. Winter tells Loretta her story. We know Winter's story, but just going through it. Let's just go through the story in like 30 seconds or less. Winter's story is basically that she was excited to have a baby sister, Summer, even though the Summer was coming through a maid. And her mom, Marina was angry about it. So when Summer eventually arrived, instead of her parents to split because they could not see eye to eye after that incident, Marina said, no, I'll be married, but we'll make each other miserable. So they basically split everything between themselves. So Winter got to be on Marina's team. Summer got to be on their father's team. That's what happened. So the thing now basically groomed Winter into becoming this cold, icy person. So when she eventually had a miscarriage, because it was while she was pregnant for this baby she always wanted, while married to her former husband, that nonsense husband Rob, that she found out that Rob was actually sleeping with Summer, who was his patient when she was underage. But he groomed the girl until she was a legal age and said hitting her. Do you understand? So this news came out basically in public, kind of, at the hospital where they were working. So after that day, Winter happened to lose her baby and nobody showed up for her. That's how she realized her life was empty. Nobody showed up for her except Summer, the sister that she's been treating like crap for years. Do you understand? And Rob is not even feeling bad about it. Saying like, I thought you did not like her. He never once apologized for that action. And the thing is, they could not take Rob to the medical body yet. Why? We'll see. So when Rob chose her and was interested in Winter was like, oh wow, somebody's finally going to be on my side. But she had no idea that this guy was a monster, like an actual freaking monster. So all these things are why Winter reconsidered her life when she moved to Chestnut Springs. So when Loretta finished sharing all of this, and she now just said, well, right now you're part of our family. And to prove it, she gave her this pearls, like it's called river pearls. It's uneven and it fits Winter's neck like a choker, really fine, like happened to fit the pinkish, baby pinkish gown she was wearing. Then Loretta also told something that made Winter cry. She said to her, the morning after both of you got together, you and Theo called me. And you know what he said? Mom, I met her, the woman I'm going to marry. This is Summer's wedding, and of course, who walks Summer down the aisle? Their father, Kip. His name is Kip, K-I-P. And saying Kip walks Summer down the aisle did something to Winter's insight, because her dad was a father to Summer, but not a father to her. It pains her a lot. She has a whole lot of daddy issues, both her and Theo, although it's different. Yeah, but it's still kind of the same. We have different problems, but our different problems are still alike in that we still have problems. So this is Summer's wedding reception, and Winter just danced with somebody else, and Theo was feeling jealous. But then Winter now starts walking towards him, and he's at the bar, and he's with champagne, and he's now serving them champagne. So he's trying to kind of have a serious talk with her, more like, Winter, I'm serious about you. And she just keeps evading the serious conversation, like, oh, have you seen this champagne? Oh, this champagne tastes really good. She keeps talking about champagne, like, oh, you need to really try this champagne. And he's like, stop talking about champagne. That I'm serious about you. That's why, about the whole phone number, the coaster, I was always going to come back to you, even without Vivi in the picture. Like, I want you. I want to be with you forever, Winter. But Winter is finding hard to believe based on history and how she's been rejected. And then he now jokingly says, why is it so hard for you to believe that I want 8 seconds of the frigid ice queen sister? Because remember, Summer is the sunshine sister and Winter is the ice sister, like their names. And that thing always hits Winter like punch in the stomach. She does not find it funny at all. So that's when tears fill her eyes, and she's like, Theo, you've been the only person who's never called me ice queen, and now you've done it. And before he knows it, because it's like, Winter, it was a joke, a bad joke, but it was a joke. And next thing he knows, in front of her very eyes, this girl tucks up her gown, like, this kind of thing, just because it's long, flowing to the floor. So she kind of raises a bit, and then she basically runs out of the hall, like runs away from him. And he's looking at it like, what just happened? We're having a good time right now, and I just made one bad joke, and she's running from me. no, Winter, you don't. And then he starts running after her because he thinks to himself, I am done letting you run away from me, Winter Hamilton. So he gives chase. And this is where part two ends. So the next part will definitely be the end. And thank you so much for hanging out with me today. And I have a whole lot of things on my face. I mean, apparently I'm having a hormonal reaction or something, and it's not pleasant. And uploading and doing this video really took time. Honestly, I agree with my big sister. Like doing YouTube long form videos is a form of beast on its own, but we're taming that beast, y'all. So thank you for hanging out with me. Really, again, thank you, Nibber. I'll see you in the next video. Bye.